Hey, it's your boy Easy, and on today's episode of Easy Opens, we're going to be taking a look at the Neca Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Archie Adventures comics Mondo Gecko figure, man. Yeah. Yeah. This version of Mondo Gecko first appeared in the Archie Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Adventures issue number 18 from March of 1991. He was created by Ryan Brown. He plays in a metal band called Merciless Slaughter and is a member of the Mighty Mutanimals. Again, NECA does a fantastic job with their box art here, but we're not here to talk about that, so let's get this figure free from its plastic prison and see what we think about Mondo Gecko. Fresh out the box, I am super impressed with this figure, more so than I thought I'd be. He looks fantastic, and he feels great, and just, I don't know, he just feels like he's alive. Like the vibrantness of his just whole getup, but also his like green scaly skin is just really cool and just really pops. And I'm kind of like really taken with this figure, fresh out the box. The paint on this figure is just awesome. It feels like it was just expertly done, like perfectly balanced. Like, and I get that a lot of that is due to the design of this character based on the comic, but the execution that NECA did here, it just looks great. Like the vibrancy of the yellow and then the contrast of the red shoes and the purple shorts and the purple hat, like all of that kind of just makes for a really visually striking character. And I think they did a fantastic job there paint wise. And then sculpt wise, there is so much stuff here. It's ridiculous. The fraying on the shirt is awesome. You can see a little bit of his abs underneath the shirt where it's ripped. The fraying on the shorts is really cool. And then just the other elements on the elbow pads, the knee pads are really awesome. The skull pad is my favorite. And then the shoes look great. But then there's the hair. And the hair is very flat, paint-wise at least, and sculpt-wise. But it's got like a waviness to it. And the way it's done, it catches the light in such a way that's so cool. I don't know. I really dig it. And then his face sculpt is one of my favorites that NECA has done. It's got a lot of character in it, even though he just looks super stoned. And, that's fair. That's in line with the character. I think NECA did a fantastic job taking this from page to plastic, and I don't know, this is just a really, really good figure that kind of like supersedes a toy. Now, that could also be just because I have a lot of fond memories of having the Playmates original Mondo Gecko figure, and then having this one now in my hands. It feels like such a huge leap forward, and just like every way possible. Now I get that they're two different characters and that they're not necessarily based on the same artwork or whatever, or design, whatever you want to say, but still it's doing wonders for my enjoyment of this character just in general. Mondo Gecko comes with 7 interchangeable hands, 1 microphone, 1 guitar, 1 skateboard, 1 drink, and 1 pet lizard. All right, so now let's take a look at the articulation you're going to get out of Mondo Gecko. So starting at the head, you could get 360 rotation at the neck. I mean, you can do it, but the hair does impede it a little bit, so you kind of have to, move it around. But he can do it. Can't really look up much because of the hair. Let's see if we can, can't really look up much because of the hair. He can look down a little bit, but again, not much. The hair does kind of impede that. But yeah, and you get a little bit of side-to-side action there, so there's a little bit of wiggle room there. Moving on to the shoulders, you've got 360 at the shoulder. You got up and down as well, because there is a hinge up in there. You get 360 at the bicep, double jointed elbows. You get 360 at the wrist, as well as let's see, there we go, a hinge. That's the word I was looking for. Then moving on to the chest, he does appear to have some sort of ab crunch possibly in there, or at least like a joint that he can move, but it's got some wiggle room in there, but not much because the shirt impedes it, but you can get him to wiggle around. You can probably get 360 at the waist, but it's actually not at the waist, it's actually at the chest now that I'm looking at it. Let's see, I don't know if you can. Yeah, it seems pretty tight at the waist. You might be able to do it, but mine's pretty tight, and I don't want to risk breaking it, so I'm not going to do that. But moving on down to the legs, pretty decent splits. Not bad. You got a little bit of thigh swivel. You got double jointed knees. You have an ankle rocker and a joint there as well. And then moving on to the tail, I do not believe that this is bendy. It feels pretty sturdy, and it doesn't have the holes that usually indicate the bendiness of a tail. But he does have a hinge, and so you get 360 as well as some up and down movement. And if I'm not mistaken, that is all the articulation you're going to get out of Mondo Gecko. According to a Flickr page called Dan Berger's T-Files, which, if that's the same Dan Berger that did the artwork for the comic strip that was in the newspapers, then oh my gosh, because he is amazing. Either way, it lists Mondo Gecko standing at 4 foot 8 inches tall and weighing 110 pounds. This figure stands at about 5 7/8 inches tall. That still sounds weird. I think I'm saying that wrong. And weighs almost 4 ounces. So now let's see how he measures up to some other figures you might have in your collection. Here they are with SH Figure Arts Kamen Rider Rogue and the Neca knockoff Mirage Comics color bandana Michelangelo. Here they are with the Neca Return to New York 4-pack Donatello and Storm Collectibles Sub-Zero. Here they are with Jazzwares, Agent Peely, and SH Figure Arts Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 1987 animated series Raphael. Here they are with NECA's Archie Comics Man Ray and Jaguar. Here they are with Masters of the Universe Classics web store and Super 7's Donatello. Here they are with NECA's 1987 animated series April O'Neil 2.0 and Business Suit Casey Jones. Here they are with Hasbro's Power Rangers Lightning Collection Dragon Shield Black Ranger and Figma's Link. Here they are with the McFarlane Multiverse King Shark and Hasbro's Marvel Legends Wolverine. And here they are with the NECA 87 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles animated series Mondo Gecko. So Mondo Gecko is one of those characters that I instantly think of when I think of the Turtles toys that I had back in the day. And it feels like every kid that was playing with Turtles back in the 80s and 90s definitely had a Mondo Gecko figure. I think because he's just the epitome of 90s pop culture or alternative culture, whatever you want to call it. I don't know. I always thought that was really neat. And I liked him as a kid, but there was still something that just kind of annoyed me. I don't know. Like it just didn't sit right with me. I think a lot of what it was his braces. Like his braces were just too much on the Playmates toy. Like him showing both his top and bottom teeth and them both having braces on them. No offense if you have braces on both, but like, I don't know. It just seemed a little much and almost like it seemed like it hurt. Like his smile just seemed like he was in pain. And sure, the red eyes didn't help, even though that like, that's how he appeared in the animated series as well as on the cover of his Archie Adventures debut. But like, I don't know, something about it just kind of hit me wrong. I still liked it, but I just had a problem with it, I guess. And then reading about him in the Archie series, when we reviewed it on Turtle Soup, I loved him. I thought he was fantastic and just didn't have any of those annoyances that I put on him through my exposure to him as an action figure. And then certainly was a totally different character than he is in the animated series. Although I do appreciate that version of this character, I absolutely prefer the Archie Adventures version of Mondo Gecko. And I think that NECA did a fantastic job yet again with this line of Archie figures, just totally nailing the character in the design and everything and bringing it to life in plastic form. Fantastic. This figure looks great, feels great, plays great, poses great, and just is so much fun. And despite his stoner look, seems to have a lot of excitement and energy to him despite that. I do think that the yellow eyes are a better choice than the red eyes, even though I would have liked to have had an extra head that had the red eyes just because. But I still think that I prefer this look, though. And so I'm glad they stuck with this. But I really just dig the paint scheme. It's so clean, and the vibrantness of his green skin, I think, is what's luring me in and just getting me. And I don't know, I just can't speak highly enough about that. And then, like I've mentioned before, the scales and everything are fantastic and just are one of those things that on paper you think wouldn't matter, but then in execution it totally does. And it gives dimension and depth and just another layer of liveliness to this figure. Another thing I love about this figure is that he includes so many accessories. This is how I think pretty much every action figure, especially at this price point, should come just standard. Although that being said, I will say that I almost immediately broke the straw off of the cup that he comes with, which was kind of disappointing. It's an easy fix, and it's a minor thing in the grand scheme of things, especially considering all the other accessories he comes with. But still, I shouldn't have to be fixing toys. Now that, and I don't think that it was that I was being too rough with it or whatever, but it's just, I don't know. I think just touching something and it breaking is kind of, that's not my fault. But nevertheless, easy fix, thankfully. So there's that. The microphone, though, I've been loving my April 2.0 because I didn't have the first one. But once I got the 2.0 version, I've been totally loving having her have the microphone and like almost like she's interviewing, like doing her job, like having her be an actual reporter and going and talking to these crazy people and stuff like that. There's been so much fun for me. And then now having him with this microphone as well and can kind of do some of the similar things. I don't know. That's just kind of a neat thing for me in the way of like, posing and getting some shots with this figure. But one thing I wasn't really expecting to enjoy was the guitar. Because one, it's done pretty nicely. As a musician myself, I'm like, okay, well, like it's a toy, obviously, but it's pretty decently done. Although it looks more like a bass guitar, but then, guitars come in all shapes and sizes, but it's still really nice and sturdy, not really flimsy at all. And using it as a weapon is awesome. Like, I think that that's a lot of fun for photos and just posing him and stuff. I think that's really cool as well. And then I totally dig his skateboard. His skateboard's a lot of fun. It does have a hard time like staying on, but that could just be my own issues with it. Like, I feel like it should have 2 pegs. That would have probably helped to keep the figure on. Nevertheless, having the 1 peg makes it look cooler when he's doing tricks if you can hold that pose. That's really cool, but I think it would have been better if he would have had the 2 pegs to just reinforce the sturdiness of this figure on the board. Other than that, I don't think I have any real big complaints about this figure. I would have liked to have seen maybe some mouth articulation. I get that it might have broke up the sculpt a little bit, but like they've done it on so many other figures. I thought that this would be kind of a cool one or give us a separate head, but like maybe like one where his like mouth is shut, but his tongue is sticking out somehow. Like, I don't know. I mean, that's a minor thing, but like everything else about this figure is just great. And is just another reason why I really enjoy collecting this line from Neca and think that they're doing a fantastic job. So, I mean, other than that, he goes fantastic with the rest of the figures from this line, especially the Mutanimals. He just looks so good, and I'm so glad we're filling out that team because they're one of my favorites. And he looks great with the 87 animated series figures. He just works with that too. And if you had to choose between which one to pick, like if you could only get one Mondo Gecko figure, honestly, I'd probably go with this one just because he comes with more accessories and he just doesn't look as annoying as the one does from the 87 animated series. So if you're a fan of the Archie Adventures line or just like the Turtles line in general and you're trying to get one version of each character, like I just said, I would definitely pick up this version of Mondo Gecko and you won't be disappointed. If you're a fan of skateboarding characters, then yeah, definitely pick up Mondo Gecko because that kind of goes hand in hand with him, or hand and foot. Goofy foot. I don't know. There's a skateboarding joke there somewhere, I'm sure. If you're a fan of characters that come with microphones, then hey, another one for you right here. And then if you're collecting action figures that have musical instruments or are just musicians in general that come with musical instruments, I guess that's just redundant me saying that. But regardless, you will absolutely not be disappointed with this version of Mondo Gecko. All right, well, that's going to do it for me today. Thanks so much for watching. If you liked what you saw, hit the like button. If you want to see more from me, hit subscribe and let me know in the comments which version of Mondo Gecko do you prefer. Did you have this figure as a kid? Do you prefer the red eyes or the yellow eyes? Let me know in the comments. And if you want to hear me talk more about the Ninja Turtles, be sure to check out my podcast here on YouTube, Turtle Soup. My buddy Ryan and I have been talking about the Ninja Turtles for quite a while. We got a bunch of episodes here on YouTube as well as wherever you listen to podcasts. And if that sounds like anything you're interested in, check that out. And until then, else time.